Picture this. Ground beef just hit $9 a pound at your local grocery store. Chicken breast isn't much better, and you're standing there in the meat aisle doing math in your head, wondering if it's even worth cooking real meals anymore. Meanwhile, tucked behind a garage or against the side of a shed somewhere, homesteaders are quietly producing more usable protein in a space smaller than a parking spot than most families buy in an entire year. And I raise small livestock on just under an acre outside Lexington, Kentucky, and I want to show you exactly how 10 square feet, that's roughly the size of a standard bathroom, can realistically produce close to 100 pounds of usable meat protein per year. This isn't theory. This is documented, repeatable math based on breeding cycles that universities and extension offices have studied for decades. Today I'm breaking down the exact 3 systems that make this possible, the real numbers behind each one, and how to stack them together in a tiny footprint so you can stop handing your grocery budget over to rising meat prices. The first system, and honestly the easiest entry point if you've never raised an animal in your life, is Coturnix quail. These birds are absurdly fast. According to research published by the University of Kentucky Department of Animal and Food Sciences, Coturnix quail reach full slaughter weight at just 6 to 8 weeks old, compared to the 16 to 20 weeks it typically takes a meat chicken breed like Cornish cross to reach comparable size. A single quail dresses out at around 4 to 5 ounces of meat, which sounds small, but here's where the math gets interesting. You can house 10 to 12 adult quail comfortably in a cage measuring just 2 feet by 3 feet, meaning your entire quail operation fits inside roughly 6 square feet, leaving you 4 square feet to spare in our 10 square foot budget. Females start laying eggs themselves at 6 weeks old and can produce close to 300 eggs a year, according to Texas A&M AgriLife Extension data. So beyond meat, you're also getting a steady egg supply. If you keep a rotating breeding group of just 6 hens and 2 males, you can hatch and process a new batch every 7 to 8 weeks, and over a full year that adds up to roughly 25 to 30 pounds of dressed quail meat, all from a footprint smaller than a card table. The second system is meat rabbits, specifically breeds like New Zealand White or Californian, which have been the standard for small-scale meat production since commercial rabbitries became popular in the United States back in the 1920s. According to the University of Florida IFAS Extension, a doe rabbit has a gestation period of just 31 days, one of the shortest of any mammal raised for meat, and she can produce a litter of 6 to 10 kits per breeding. Rabbits reach processing weight of 4 to 5 pounds, live weight in about 8 to 12 weeks, yielding roughly 52 to 57% dressed carcass weight according to Purdue University Extension data. Here's where the space math really shines. A single breeding doe with a nest box needs about 3 square feet of cage space, and a buck needs a similar setup, so a basic breeding trio, 1 buck and 2 does, fits comfortably into 6 square feet using stacked or hutch-style housing. If each doe produces 4 litters a year, which is a conservative and sustainable rate according to most rabbit breeding guides, and each litter averages 7 kits reaching harvest weight, you're looking at 56 kits annually between 2 does, each yielding around 2.5 pounds of dressed meat. That comes out to approximately 140 pounds of rabbit meat a year from a footprint of just 6 square feet, making rabbits by far the single most space-efficient protein source on this entire list. The third system takes us into aquaculture, specifically raising tilapia in a repurposed IBC tote, the large plastic water containers you can often find used for under $100. According to Auburn University's Department of Fisheries, tilapia are ideal for backyard aquaculture because they tolerate crowded conditions, grow quickly in warm water, and convert feed to body weight more efficiently than almost any other farmed fish. With a feed conversion ratio close to 1.6 pounds of feed per pound of body weight gained, a standard 275-gallon IBC tote takes up about 3 square feet of floor space when set upright, fitting neatly into whatever room remains in our 10 square foot layout. Inside that tote, you can raise approximately 50 to 75 tilapia fingerlings to harvest size, depending on your filtration and aeration setup. Tilapia reach a harvestable weight of about 1.5 pounds in 6 to 8 months when water temperature stays between 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, according to Mississippi State University Extension research on backyard tilapia production. That means a single tote cycle can yield somewhere between 70 and 100 pounds of live weight fish, translating to roughly 35 to 50 pounds of edible fillet after processing, depending on how efficiently you clean them. You do need a small water pump, a basic biofilter, and either a heater or a warm location like a greenhouse to maintain temperature, but the footprint itself stays remarkably small for the yield you get back. Now let's put this together into an actual working footprint. Your quail cage takes roughly 6 square feet, but can technically stack vertically, so if you're tight on floor space, stacking 2 quail cages effectively halves that footprint to 3 square feet of floor space while doubling your quail output. Your rabbit hutch, kept as a simple 2-tier stack design common in small-scale rabbitries, also compresses down to about 3 to 4 square feet of actual floor footprint, despite housing your full breeding trio. And your IBC tote for tilapia rounds out the remaining 3 square feet. Add it up, and you're sitting right around 10 square feet of total floor space, producing conservatively 25 pounds of quail meat, 140 pounds of rabbit meat, and 40 pounds of tilapia fillet in a single year, landing you well past that 100-pound protein mark from a space smaller than most people's bathrooms. The real advantage here isn't just the pounds of meat, it's the diversification. If disease hits your quail or a predator gets into your rabbit hutch, you're not left with zero protein. You've still got fish growing quietly in a tote that no raccoon or hawk can touch. If you want to start this system, don't try to build all 3 at once. Start with rabbits first, since they deliver the highest pound-for-pound yield, and the learning curve is genuinely gentle. Most extension offices, including Purdue and University of Florida, publish free beginner guides you can download today. A basic breeding trio setup, including hutch, nest boxes, and feeders, typically runs between $150 and $250 depending on whether you build or buy, and pays for itself within your first 2 litters. Once you're comfortable managing rabbits, add quail next, since their setup cost is even lower, often under $100 for a starter cage and a small incubator. Save tilapia for last, since it requires the most technical setup with water chemistry and temperature control. But once it's running, it demands the least daily attention of all 3 systems. Within 1 full year of stacking these 3 systems in your own 10 square feet, you could realistically stop buying meat at the grocery store altogether, or at minimum cut your meat spending by more than half. If this video gave you a real plan you can actually use, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment telling me which of these 3 systems you're starting with first. I answer every comment personally, and I want to see your setup when you get it going. See you in the next one.